Hello. I know you
Hello.
probably are like, why are you all laughing every time that you come on? It's the countdown. It's the countdown.
I think it makes me feel like a little kid.
Yeah.
You know,
I get
when you're
nervous.
like for New Year's or something, you're like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No.
I know.
Oh.
So, hello everybody. I know. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start like a little different this time. We're going to kind of reverse because we're going to talk about a topic that's just, I think, a little bit heavier and a little bit more somber. And so we're going to sort of change things up a little bit. And so we're going to be bold and pray first. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes. And if you want to know what's in our mugs, you have to wait till the end of this video.
Exactly. And don't go fast forwarding.
No.
Okay. We will know.
No. Do not do it. Put your finger back down and just watch it.
It's not a real thing. Okay. Let's God, thank you so much that we're able to be here and to speak together. I just ask that every single person who stumbles upon, whether intentionally or not, upon this video, just hear your love and truth washed upon them, and that you would use our stories to plant seeds of goodness in other people. In your name, we ask these things. Amen.
Amen.
So, we're talking about grief, my friend. And I guess you know that. So, hello, friends. We're talking about grief.
I'm agree.
Grief. And that is relevant for many, many reasons. Like, this has been a heavy week.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a heavy time in general, I think, for many people, for our country, for the world. There's a lot of grief happening. Are you feeling that heaviness? Because I'm feeling that.
There absolutely is a lot of grief. And there's a lot more. I mean, there always is in the world, but there's a lot more public grief right now. I feel like it's just heavy. You just feel it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like you're looking around at people and you know everybody else feels it too.
Yeah.
And yet you still get up and you got to do your stuff and you got to go to work and you got to love your kids and you got to do all the stuff. And that is just so indicative of like the experience of grief. It's also relevant because this week marks some significant milestones for both of us. Mm-hmm. So my dad passed away 2 years ago as of this Thursday. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then what happened for you too? Because it's odd how it lines up.
Yeah, it is really odd how it lines up. So then my stepdad, actually, his birthday is on Thursday, and he passed away a few years ago too. So it's interesting that her dad happened to pass away on his birthday. So, yeah.
I know. That was really weird. And I thought maybe we would start by just me talking a little bit about what that experience was like, since it is like coming up on 2 years. And I haven't really, I've talked about that with my family, obviously talked about it a lot with you, but haven't really talked about it with like a ton of people. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to share with you guys a little bit of the story of kind of what happened. And then we'll kind of walk through that. So my 2 years ago, I guess was like a Monday. I think it was a Monday. Mm-hmm. So 2 years ago, I used to have these big department calls, like on, I don't know, Monday mornings, I think. And so I was in a call leading my thing, normal Monday morning, went up to work. And at one point I heard my husband knocking on my door. And I was really irritated because I thought, why is he knocking at my door? He knows I'm in this call. And I tried to ignore him. And then he was like, hey, I need to talk to you. I need you to stop the call. And my heart kind of dropped because, like something's actually wrong if he's interrupting. And so I asked everybody to wait a second. And then, he told me that I just needed to hang up and I needed to go talk to him. And so I told everybody kind of jokingly, like, something serious is going on in my life. And like, guess I better go talk to my husband. And I left the call. And then he told me that a police car was coming to pick me up and that something happened to my dad and that he was in the hospital. And I kept asking him if he was okay. And, he's looking at me with just horrible eyes because he doesn't know what to say. And he didn't officially know at that point. But when a police car is coming to pick you up from your house to take you to the hospital, it's not a good sign. and you kind of know, and you know that because of
Mm-hmm.
experiences too.
Yeah.
Um, and so I knew I got all my stuff together. A police car came and I'm like crying in the car. And I think you were one of the first people I texted, Hannah, and said like, I'm pretty sure my dad is dead. And I kept asking my sister, like, is he okay? Is he okay? And she was like, just get down here. And so sure enough, went down and went into the room, and then they told me, and he was, what I think, 61. So like very young,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, super young to have just died, and super healthy too, like training for races, a runner, had been like in the Navy, like very physically fit. So all of that to say, like, I can even sense in my body when I talk about it, right? That just like sense of there's still shock in that, even though it's been like 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think I've had people die in my life many times, but until my dad passed, I had always seen it coming in some way, right? Like that just hit totally out of the blue with someone
Yes.
that close to me. That's a radically different experience.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
Right? It's just
Yeah.
very, very jolting.
Yeah.
And for me, being in that experience, like my default kind of role is like caretaker, so like I can be very good in a crisis. And so, okay, we make sure everybody else is okay, and we go and we comfort those who have lost. And so my experience of grief was, I didn't feel like the reality of losing my dad hit me until probably a couple weeks later. I mean, it did, and I was sad, but like once I was able to sort of put down that role and sit, then I felt like everything just sort of like washed over me. And like grief is just, it's kind of, it's ugly. And, like it doesn't come to you in a pretty little package. It comes to you at inconvenient times.
Yep.
Punches you in the face.
Yep.
And you want to be doing other stuff. It demands your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Totally was my experience. I felt like that started a couple weeks later. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it really does. And I remember, I don't know if you remember, you probably don't, but I remember texting you when you were taking care of everybody else. And I was like, hey, um, you matter too. And we got to take care of Becky. So Becky let me come in and help be her friend, which blessed me. And I get to help with her kiddos. But
Oh, that was like a radical thing, because my household was falling apart on the day that my dad was having a very extremely public funeral, because he was a public figure. It was being like broadcast on the news, and I was supposed to speak, and my house was totally falling apart. And I remember Hannah just graciously showing up and taking my kids to the park. And it's those little things. If you ever want to know how to help somebody who's grieving, don't ask them how you can help. Just show up anyway, even when they don't want it. That's actually what is the most helpful thing for someone, is because nobody knows what they need when they're falling apart, and nobody knows how to ask for help. But showing up is the actual thing that you need, is to just not be alone, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because it's too heavy. It's just too heavy to carry by yourself. And even just having someone there, like they don't have to say anything, but it's just like their presence helps carry part of it. It's just like, thank you for just acknowledging that this is too much to carry by myself. And I mean, and that's something I think I've said in these videos before, of how like our counselor, one of the things he says is that we were meant to walk in the garden, in the cool of the garden, in the presence of God. That's like how we were made. That's how our brains were made. And then sin entered the world, and then we, with death and pain and sorrow and suffering and all of the things that are here now, they are too much. They are too much. And to have a friend there is very nice.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that I noticed about grief in that time is like, grief is like walking along a road and just falling off of cliffs that like weren't there and then they just suddenly are, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And anything can trigger that. But then what I noticed in my own grief experience too is that grief begets grief. And so what happened is the loss of my dad turned into a whole heck of a lot more than just the loss of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I found what it really did is it unlocked and unzipped this grief in other areas of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it can feel like looking, or at least in my experience, it feels like looking into a canyon and then having tip you over and falling into the canyon and not
Yep.
having a clue where it ends or being able to see the bottom and it being really
Mm-hmm.
dark, really alone, and everything echoes and everything. You're just dizzy from it all.
Mm-hmm.
I won't sugarcoat that being any nicer than it is, because it's hellish and awful.
Mm-hmm.
What I have found is this amazing graciousness of God in the midst of grief.
Yes.
And it's, it's like the Beatitudes in Matthew where Jesus is talking a lot about like, blessed are those who mourn because they will be, and you can hear that and kind of almost roll your eyes unless you understand like the actual Greek meaning of those words. It's like when they're talking about mourning, the word that they use for mourning in that statement that Jesus uses is like lament. It's not like I feel sad. It's like lament, like the ripping and off of your clothes and wailing. It's like that level of mourning, not sad, different.
Yes.
And blessed is like a deep favor, covering, and being held. It's not like, oh, I'm just blessed today on Monday with my coffee. It's like blessed is like a rooting word, like something that's stabilizing in the midst of horrific tragedy and pain, right?
Yeah.
And what I have found is that if you keep that grief, because I like to avoid, that's my go-to move. Nope, don't want to feel that, right? Like when Inside Out came out and I saw the first movie in theaters, I called my mom afterwards and she was like, oh my gosh, that was you. Like your joy in like the beautiful way, but also in the like, no, sadness, stay over there, do not bother me, don't touch me, right? But the truth is, if you let that grief is like a pass, like a visitor. A grief isn't meant to stay. And so if you let grief stay, it will actually create a toxin in you. It will stagnate the water and it will disrupt your whole life, and it has to pass through. But it doesn't pass through quickly sometimes. And that's what's awful is grief sometimes says, I'm going to stay, pull up a chair. We're going to sit here for a while. We're going to feel these things. We're going to look at it. We're going to feel misery over it. And then grief will leave.
Yeah.
And so in that opening, in my experience with the opening of grief over so many things, what eventually happened with that is when you sit with it, or when I have sat with it, you find these gracious little gifts that grief will leave in its wake. And I believe that is the blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. That when you meet, when you are in spot in authenticity and honesty and just horrific awfulness, it's in that place that God can actually meet you and fill you with grace and with healing and with and healing, not as in it makes it feel all better, but like deep resonating change and washing and comfort. At least that's been my experience of it. And it's but you don't want to. My gut is to fight it. I don't want to sit with you, grief. Screw you. Go outside. Do not come to my door.
Yep. And when you've experienced it once before and then it comes again and you know the things you have to walk, like you talking about it comes, but and then it eventually does go, but you have to visit with it. You can't pretend that it's not there or it won't leave. You can't just act like it didn't happen or it'll just stay until you do look at it and feel the grief and allow yourself to feel angry, allow yourself to feel just sad and confused and have questions, and like you have to sit with it so that it can leave, or else it begins penetrating who you are and oozing out of everything you do. Whether you think that or not, everybody else can see it.
Oh God, so true. It is.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to a friend a couple weeks back, and she was talking about grief, and she was saying like grief can sort of be like an ushering in your life. You know, like you go to a theater and you have your tickets and you go in and it's dark, and there are ushers there to lead you to the next. It's like grief can be that hand to lead you into something new, but you can't do that if you won't actually, if you just permanently resent and refuse the grief, right?
Yeah.
And
And
I don't know how to.
grief is not weakness. Grief is not weakness. Feeling that grief is not weakness. It's crying and being angry and being and struggling isn't weakness. It's strength in making yourself do it so that you can persevere, so that you can move beyond and be better and be more okay. Like, and I'm not saying if you've lost someone that you're going to be like, and, you know, okay, the switch is flipped and like everything's fine. Like, it's time. It takes time. And that's the part I would, if I have to walk through grief, if I get frustrated because I know it takes time, and I'm the same way of like, okay, can we just, like, I know this sucks, hated it, really hurts a lot. Could we just work through it? Like, mentally, could I work through it faster? Let me just say, it doesn't work like that. So don't try it.
It isn't a cognitive process, and that is what is so hard and infuriating for people who just like me, who want to sort of check the boxes and move on. Because it's not an up here process, it's a here process. And you don't get to put a timetable on a here process. Sometimes you weep and weep and weep and weep, and you feel like it'll never end, and you weep some more. And then it comes on you again and you weep some more. And that you you have to get the ache out. And there is no definitive how long it takes to get the ache out.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's not your mind, it's your spirit and your heart and your soul. And that's a very different thing to that is a very tender thing. Your heart is very tender. Your soul is very tender. I mean, there's a reason the Bible says to guard your heart. And and that's just grief just comes in and gives it a good old roundhouse kick.
Oh, that's so true. It does give it a good roundhouse kick.
And it hurts. But there's hope. There is hope. There is another side. And like, I love that verse where he says he's near to the brokenhearted, because we were talking about this before our call of like, I said, well, that's in Psalms, so it's an Old Testament. And I was like, I think that means anyone who's brokenhearted, that God is near you. So whether you know Jesus or not yet, like, I hope that you do. I want that for you. But know that, like, if you are in the depths and you are brokenhearted right now, that God is near you. So choose him. Choose him. Give him a chance, because the peace and the hope that he gives is miraculous.
That's 100% true. And I have found in my own experience of God an unyielding patience. Right? Yeah. And what I mean by that is, I think that sometimes in I don't know, sometimes like in the Christian faith, it just, there can be just a lot of just like, I think fear of like, if I'm not
Mhm.
quite getting it, I'm not quite doing it, or if they're not quite getting it or whatever. And I have found that God has been unyieldingly patient. And if you really think of like a God who stands outside of time, because that's really the truth, right?
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
is that God stands outside of time. And
Mhm.
so it isn't a relationship if there is a demand for compliance. That is
Mhm.
not real. That is robotic and it's manipulative. And that is not who God is.
Mhm.
God is a just God and a loving, eternally patient God who sits
Yep.
beside in your weeping
Yeah.
and waits until you want to look and say, help, help.
Mhm.
Because
Yep.
it isn't a relationship if
Yeah.
there isn't a want from you, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yes, that's so true. And that's why he gives us choice. That is a gift
Mm-hmm.
of getting to choose him or not. And like, I just, if you haven't chosen him yet, I can only tell you, and you'll just have to believe me, that like, it may feel like that path to God is so long and so far away, but all it takes is just a choice, and he'll meet you so much further down that road than you feeling like, oh, well, I have to go way there. And then in he he wants that relationship with you too. He wants it, but he loves us, so he lets us choose.
Okay, so I gotta say, and I know we're just gonna break this into 2 videos because we're way over
It's
time,
fine.
but it's
It's
important,
fine.
so it's fine. But what I'm gonna say is, what some people listening to the videos are still probably like reeling from, like, I knew Becky a year ago, and I'm hearing what you're saying now, and this feels like wildly wow, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talk to Hannah all the time, and I'm like, yeah, but God, like that's the only thing I even know to say about all this, right? And it's like I was talking to my husband the other day, and he was just telling me, like, he used to weightlift, and right, he's like not in weightlifting shape right now, but he used to weightlift, and he used to tell himself that all he had to do, the only actual choice he had to make, was to drive to the gym, because once he had
Yeah.
taken the drive to the gym, he would walk inside, and once he had taken the time to walk inside, he would go put on clothes. And once he had taken the time to put on clothes, he would go
Yeah.
over to the, and once he had done that, he would lift. And so I think there is, like, we get stuck in thinking that we have to do all the things and know all the things, when the
Mm-hmm.
reality is you will be met right where you
Yeah.
are. And all it takes is a tiny, 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 minuscule step. And it's just like
Yep.
a looking and a help, 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 right?
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing, is that really God does the rest. It's not up to
Mm-hmm.
you. It really is the good
Yeah.
news. That is the
Mm-hmm.
good news. It's not good if you have to make sure that you are righteous. The actual good
Mm-hmm.
news is that you don't. That there's already been something paid for that for you.
Yeah.
And now
Yep.
you get to rest in that fact and
Mm-hmm.
coexist, co-create with the one who created you. That's pretty
Yeah.
dang amazing.
It is. It is. I love
Right?
it.
Yeah. My friend told me the other day, she said, if the message of Jesus actually doesn't have you like wanting to like run around the room, like shouting and so excited, you probably don't really get it. And not in like a
Yep.
critical way. You probably don't really
Yep.
actually understand it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Because
it
it's
makes me
really,
laugh because you talk about how transformed you've been through this year, and I have, but on the other side of, like, I knew all the stuff. I knew the information. And I remember hearing people say, like just being just so grateful for the love of Jesus and that he would come and he would do that for them. And in my mind, I would think, this is terrible. But I would think like, yeah, this is great. Like, yes. I mean, I'm doing pretty good. Like, well, he can come along with me, which is not the right mindset at all. And now, I mean, I literally asked him that. I'm like, Jesus, I want to understand. I want to understand the weight of it. I want to understand your love. I want to understand that. And I mean, God has just like wrecked my heart. And, but like only he could do that. Only he could take somebody who thought, I'm doing all the right things. And why do I need, like, yeah, I need him, but like only a little. Okay. But like, so for those of us that have been in church for a long time, doesn't that sound also like the complete opposite side of like, I don't need God, I got this. And it's like, well, it's kind of the same thing of like, you can know all the facts, but like without that relationship and true understanding of just his love and desire for your heart, because he just loves you. It's just transformative.
But see, it's like, it's meeting, it's like on the road to Damascus. It's like where Jesus interrupts Saul, who's like the Pharisee of the Pharisee, right? And he's like, hey, buddy, why are you doing this? Why are you persecuting me? Right? And it wrecks him. And he then is transformed from the inside out. So it's like there is a want for all of us on all sides of the spectrum. And yes, I do hear him. You're basically saying, yes, you were brought to be my friend because you're crazy enough to. Just kidding. But yeah, there's a want for all of us. And it is the you say it from that side. And I can tell you that me being here, making this video with you on a Tuesday night, it's a freaking miracle within itself. And it really, because there are things that years ago I said I would never do. And it is not because I had a lot of baggage and a lot of stuff and a lot of pain, but I have watched God lay every stone in front of me. I'm watching him do it now. I'm living in it. I'm experiencing it. And it induces awe in me. Like there's no other word for it other than I am just in absolute awe and shocked and grateful and amazed. And the truth is I'm no different than anybody else. And you're no different than anybody else. And that exists for everyone, not just for me, not just for everyone. And that is like, there's, before we do our mugs, I'm going to read you something because long before I was able to like talk and sort of get back in the Bible and read things, like God has always spoken to me through nature. That's where I was like, I wasn't safe in other spaces. And so never left me. He's always spoken to me. He will speak to you in a language that makes sense to you. By the way, I wholeheartedly believe that God will speak to you in a language that is specific and unique to you. And so it's always been through nature. And one thing that has always struck me is that every single thing speaks of this resurrected life. The trees sing of resurrection, and the leaves fall into the ground and are rebirthed. The birds sing of resurrected life. Like it's literally everywhere. It's like that touches just across all of the earth, right? And so this is something that I wrote in grief, and I'm going to share it with you, and then we're going to share our mugs, and then we'll call it. Okay? Does that sound good?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. It says, although I wrote this poem a little over 2 years ago when I posted this, I can't help but feel its relevance also in this moment. There are very few things I feel confident enough to say I know about life. However, the seasonal aspect of our very existence is one of them. I know that light sits on the outside of brokenness. I know that relief is the subsequent wave of ache. I know that sadness is the backlight for joy. And I know that death comes before the rising. There are so many things that have died this year, in the year I'm writing it. Comfort, relationship, ideologies, dreams, thoughts of what could have been, what should have been, what wasn't. but it is exactly the seasonal aspect of life that is so intricately woven into the depths of our bones that allow us to sit with those things and mourn their loss. We can cry and we can ache and we can scream and we can survive. Because on the other side of the cracks in our souls, there is warmth from the exposure to sun. There is the song of birds singing of a new day. There is hope for a thing that wasn't, but now is. There is only life and more life. The whole thing is about to rise, and it always comes, always, right on time, and right where it's supposed to be. First the dying, then the rising. Winter blankets the earth with spring inevitably on its heels. And I won't read the rest, but that's just like, oh, see, I look back at that now, and I hear it, and I'm like, but see, that was Jesus speaking to me. I didn't ever say the word because I couldn't hear that. But that was Jesus speaking to me through that. And I love that.
And you're so right. Like, he is speaking, and he cares about our hearts, and he does care, like, he does care that we hear him. And, okay, I'm going to tell a really quick story. I know we're going to already cut this video in half. Sorry, everybody. We'll show you our mugs in 1 second. But, okay, so the fact that God speaks to us, and this is a simple story, but it was really cool to me. So my son is, we are a short family. We are a very short family, and it's not super fun to be a short guy, and he has to deal with that at school, and it's very hard on him, and it's very frustrating and painful for him. And thank God he has a very good, godly father that helps him walk through that. But he had been wrestling with it particularly a lot lately, and we went out to eat. And when we were going, no, it was after school. It was after school, and then we went out to eat. So after school, we were on our way home, and we saw like 13 Corvettes. 13. It was a lot of Corvettes. And I was like, that's so many Corvettes. I don't even know why there's so many together. Okay, anyways, didn't care. Moved on. Okay, so we go out to eat that evening. We see more Corvettes. And I'm like, okay, what was happening? They're everywhere. So the next day, it hits me that I'm like, I felt like the Holy Spirit kind of like tapped me on the shoulder and was like, sure was a lot of Corvettes, wasn't it? And I was like, I wonder what the word Corvette means. And like Jason, my son, particularly saw this, and he, like, it was particularly exciting for him to see them. Like, we all saw him, but like, it was for him, he was like, wow. And so I looked it up, and a Corvette, you may know this, some people know this, is a small naval vessel that is used for very particular reasons, because they are smaller and they're faster and they have a purpose, and they help, show the larger ships where to go. And they're used for a purpose because they can do more things than the larger ships can. And like, they're important because of their size. And so after I looked that up, I was like, God, you totally spoke to him through Corvettes. Like, I almost missed it, but then you reminded me and you didn't let me miss it. And I was able to show him that and teach him that. And it was a cool moment of like, hey, bud, God sees you. He sees your heart and he cares. And so even all of us, like, you know, if it's a red bird, if it's a dove, if it's a Corvette, like, look for God speaking to you, because he probably is.
He's always, always speaking to us. I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I think sometimes we have scales on our eyes and are blinded to that or hardened to it. But there's a spirit in you who hears that and knows that voice. I believe wholeheartedly God is absolutely speaking to you. And I love that. Oh my gosh, the Corvette story. That's so sweet.
I loved it. I thought it was cool. Okay. You know what time it is.
Expanding these midnight bugs. I mean, I just like, you and I, we cannot keep it to this time.
I know.
Maybe
But they need a studio. Larger time. I don't know. Okay.
Okay. What's your mug?
You go first. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go
Yours is
ahead.
going to be like the Big Bang. Okay, that's fine.
Slightly younger, so I'll go second. So
okay, mine has to do with grief because this was, I think this one was given to me by my stepsister.
Oh my
and it's hug in a mug, isn't it? And I use this mug every single day, literally every day. I fill up oat milk in it and I heat it in the microwave for my latte. I use it every day. But guess what's not in it? Anything liquid today. You know what is in it? These popcorners. These are kettle chip. It's like a kettle style.
Like a kettle corn chip.
They're dangerous. I could eat a whole bag and make myself sick. Like, it's a very dangerous chip. I shouldn't have them.
Thank you for having something funny in the mug, because I was like, well, on a less serious note, here's my mug.
What's yours?
Okay, so, because we're in the South, if you couldn't tell by my accent, football time. It is a football. I'm pretty sure it's a beer mug, but it's fine. My son loves it so much. Can you see the football? Hold on. I had to turn around. I'm sorry.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So
that is amazing.
There's decaf iced coffee in here. And again, shout out to my friend Jen. Don't know if she saw the last video, but this next thing, I have 2 mugs tonight again, because I have to have drinks. Then hold on. This
I have no idea what's
next
coming.
mug is really cool. On the outside, it says,
"Oh no,"
an H for delicious snacks. My delicious snacks mug. And in my mug, hold on, I have a piece of sourdough bread. I made this.
That's also, the bread that you made?
Yes. Also, chocolate chip cookie dough.
Wait.
So,
is that legit cookie dough? Like, to make a cookie?
Yes. I also made that. So,
does it have raw eggs in it? Be real.
Yes, it does.
I
know we were calling each other out for eating raw food.
You put it on camera.
You don't eat cookie dough with raw egg in it?
I used to, till somebody told me about the other thing.
This is going to be one of those food videos. Shocking. She's eating it. Oh, no. I am. I'm going to eat it.
We'll make a gift out of it, just back and forth.
Tomorrow, it'll be me, like, vomiting in the bed. Sick.
If you call into work tomorrow and be like, it was that cookie dough.
Well, everybody will know what it was. They're like, it was the cookie dough.
Oh, my God. Well, we've almost doubled our length, so that was exciting today. But
if you made it all the way to the end, I feel like we should give you a prize, but we don't have one. So thank you.
We'll be doing a giveaway for Smiles.
Our friend. You can be our friend. High five. Friendship giveaway.
Guess who wins? It's Mom.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. We love you guys.
Yes.
Even random people on the internet. We do.
Thanks for listening to us. And listening about hope and Jesus and good things and even hard things.
Everything. There is always spring. Yeah. Spring always comes. Yeah. And that keeps me grounded. And that every single thing that has ever been created sings of that. It has the fingerprints of our Creator. And spring comes, death before the rising. But there is always a rising. Yeah. So good. Have a great week. Minna Mugs.
Minna Mugs. Bye-bye.
Minna Mugs. Bye.